Hey guys, Tom here, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about having great conversations with laundromat owners so you can go into those with confidence. So let's dive in. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is start your direct outreach campaign, which is going to start getting you some laundromat leads quickly. Once you get the laundromat owners on the phone, you want to guide the conversation and start asking some really great questions to get them to open up about their situation with their business. Now, if they called you from a letter you sent, you know they're interested and they called for a reason, or if you decided to cold call them, you could still guide the conversation in the right direction and get the information that you need. So one thing you'll notice about laundromat owners is that most of them are genuinely humble people. I've talked to dozens of them across different states over the years, and never once had I had somebody be standoffish or shut me down when I was new to the industry. Something to think about. These people are in the same situation as you and I, and all they want to do is create a better life for themselves and for their family. So keep this in mind. If you get nervous on these calls, they're human beings just like you and I, and they are curious why you reached out to them about their laundromat. So we always want to be prepared for these conversations, because being prepared before they happen will give you confidence that you need to have incredible conversations and guide them in the right direction so you can get all the information that you need from the laundromat owner. The best way to do this is by having a script by your phone or in your notes that you can easily access, and will have some power questions that you're going to ask them. I'm going to cover what questions to ask in this video, but one thing I want to point out is that it's always important to be a mindful listener. Mindful listening is fully focusing on what the laundromat owner is saying without letting your mind wander to potential outcomes or other distractions. This will help you respond thoughtfully and maintain composure throughout the entire conversation. A majority of people in the world aren't great listeners, and it definitely shows. So just utilizing this one tip will put you ahead of 90% of other people. To really get a grasp on this, I want to use the 80-20 rule, also known as Pareto's principle. So the 80-20 rule in sales states that the person looking to get a desired outcome should spend 80 of the time listening and 20% of the time talking. That means that 80% of your conversation should be listening to the laundromat owner, and the other 20% of the time will be you asking great questions and building the relationship. The 80-20 rule also states that 20% of what we do will get us 80% of the results that we're looking to achieve. So that 20% in this case would be focusing on being a mindful listener, asking great questions to get the information you're looking for, which will in turn get you 80% of the results you're looking for from the laundromat owner. This principle was developed in 1896 by Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, and it is held true for over 125 years. This applies not only to sales, but to all areas of life. All right, now let's dive into the questions you want to ask laundromat owners.
So here's a good script to follow when laundromat owners call you because of a letter that you sent them. So we're going to call this the warm letter script with power questions. So one, they're either calling you and you answer the phone, or the other situation is you miss their call and you call them back. So you're going to start with an intro. So, hi, name, it's great to hear from you and I appreciate you calling me. I'm happy to hear my letter caught your eye and gained your interest. As I stated in my letter, I live locally and have been looking to acquire a laundromat in the area. Question, how long have you owned Laundromat X? Then you're going to do some mindful listening, take some notes, and you're going to start building rapport and engage with another question. That's great to hear. Sounds like you've gained some good experience and knowledge over the past X years. I'm curious, what got you started in the laundromat industry and inspired you to become a laundromat owner? Again, mindful listening, listen to their insights about their journey and why they started the business. Then you're going to respond with something like, I appreciate you sharing that. It sounds like we have similar goals with laundromat ownership, and I also share some of these same inspirations. I reached out to you specifically because, now I'm going to give you two options here on how you want to respond. You could say option A, I went to your laundromat and was impressed by how well it's being operated, and it made me want to understand more how you run it so well. I also wanted to ask if it's a business you've ever considered selling, or do you plan on keeping it for a while? The second option is going to be, I've been looking at acquiring a laundromat locally in the next few months and have a few on my list that I made as a priority, yours being one of them. I've seen the images and reviews online and it made me interested in learning more. I'm curious, have you ever considered selling the laundromat?
So if you made it this far in the video, you're obviously interested in creating financial independence through laundromat ownership. So check out the free training that walks you through the 30-day checklist to find, buy, and operate a laundromat passively. You can do that in the link below this video.
Keep it short and sweet like that. Do some more mindful listening, listen to their answers, take notes. Then you're gonna respond with something like, makes sense, thanks for that information. If they said yes and have considered selling or are considering selling, seek permission to discuss further and then offer the next step. So say something along the lines of, well, I'm definitely interested in learning more about your laundromat and your journey with this business. This is the first laundromat I'm looking at purchasing, but I have a great network of experienced laundromat owners who have given me the insight and knowledge I needed to understand how these businesses operate. So I'm excited to get to know you more. Then follow up with another power question. Would you feel comfortable sharing some of these financials with me on this call, or would you like to send them over via email? I ask this up front because I want to make sure I don't waste your time or mine, and if the financial health of the laundromat is within the criteria I'm looking for, we can meet in person and discuss further. How does that sound? So if they're hesitant to share financials, you could tell them that you're willing to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, and you could send this over to them via email. So that way they're gonna feel confident that you're not gonna share their financials with anybody else. Point of the non-disclosure agreement is basically you'll sign it, they'll sign it, and it's just basically saying that you're the only one that has the right to review their financial information. I'm gonna provide one of these under files in this module. So if they're open to sharing the financials on the call, ask them a couple of questions about how the laundromat is currently performing. Question 1, hey, can you tell me around how much gross revenue the laundromat is currently making annually? Listen, great. Where is most of that revenue coming from? Is it coin laundry or other services like wash, dry, fold? Listen, do you have an idea of what your net operating income is after all expenses are paid? So if they want to send you over the information via email, the things that you're going to want to ask for at this point are profit and loss statement, preferably for the past 2 to 3 years. At the very least, get it for the past year. And then you want to get the cost of the lease if it's not in the P&L. You could ask for a copy of the lease if they're not willing to share this yet because you guys aren't under contract and you're just having a preliminary conversation. Just make sure you get the cost of the monthly lease. Then another thing you want to do is get the inventory of equipment. So how many washers and dryers they have, and also what's the age of those washer and dryers. So back to the question of if they've considered selling, and the answer is no, they haven't considered. We want to keep building the relationship with them. So another power question you could ask them is, would you be open to meeting in person at the laundromat or at a coffee shop to discuss more in person? I know that keeping your employees as happy and feeling secure about their job is important. So if you feel more comfortable meeting at a coffee shop so we don't disturb them, I completely understand. So the point of meeting in person is to keep building the trust and do that as fast as possible by putting a face to the name. Not only that, but it's also going to give you a sense of how trustworthy the laundromat owner is and if there's somebody that you want to continue with. So at this point in the conversation, we want to thank them for their time. I appreciate you sharing all this information with me, and I look forward to receiving the items discussed above through email. Here's a good email you could send those to. Give them your email. And then ask them, do you also have a mobile number I could text you my contact information at, and also send you my email to make sure you have the correct information. That way, you get their number, you know that you sent them the proper email. If they don't send you the information you're looking for within a day or two, you could shoot them a text or a call to follow up. Thanks again for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you more on this. Once I have that information, I'll review it and I'll reach back out shortly after so we can take the next steps. All right, so at this point, you've made some progress with the laundromat owner. You're hopefully getting some financial information from them or meeting them in person to get to know them better. If they want to talk longer or you want to talk longer and you don't feel like they're in a rush to get off the phone engage them more with who they are, ask about crazy customer stories, they definitely have some, and then ask about any challenges that they face with laundromat ownership. So here's a list of some more great questions to ask them while you're on the phone if they're not in a rush to get off. These questions are meant to give you a bunch more information about the laundromat, who they are, some of the challenges that they face, and just get an overall sense of their laundromat business and why they may be interested in possibly selling, and just getting as much information out of them as you possibly can. So one thing to note here is you're getting to know them just as much as they're getting to know you. So you want to make sure they're trustworthy. They're going to want to make sure that you're trustworthy as well. They may be skeptical at first, but the more conversations you have with them, once you meet in person, a lot of that skepticism is going to go away because now you're a real person and they know you're interested and you're not wasting their time. So the next module, I'm going to cover a cold call script if you want to start calling laundromats straight off of Google or Yelp, and do that before you send a letter or even after you send a letter if you haven't gotten calls back. Go watch that module now.
All right, I hope those power questions helped you out, and don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button for more tips on building passive income and taking control of your financial future. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.